Hey everyone, this is Christian C, and in this module, we're going to talk about the 3S duality technique, how to break through energy blocks using the 3S duality technique. Energy blocks is just a general term to label anything from anxiety to cravings, feelings of negativity, and all the way to more serious issues such as food addiction, stress, and so forth. And I wanted to share with you one powerful technique that has worked for me. And this is a technique that, with good practice, it will work for you as well. It's flexible enough to change it up a bit if you need to, but overall, it's quite effective. The 3S duality technique will work on various levels of energy blocks and their intensity. It identifies and pivots off energy blocks in order to break them down and make them move much further away from your good flowing energy. The 3S duality technique is the second part of the original 3S technique. So instead of going from a zoomed in to a zoomed out view, it goes in the opposite direction and it begins with an overall macro zoomed out view and it slowly zooms in. This is reverse engineer since we start with an universal point to zoom into the energy blocks we wish to get rid of. And here I'm going to go through the whole simple step-by-step process so that you can try it out for yourself. Start with an universal point of view of your higher self. Visualize your higher self looking down and having a clear view of your ego self. Start with the big picture and zoom in to visualize your physical self, your ego self, sitting down and continue to zoom in to visualize energy within you consisting of your energy block and visualize it as a red circle within your solar plexus. Again, gradually visualize starting from that universal view and slowly zooming in so that you can pinpoint your energy block and see it as a red circle within your solar plexus. See its red color in its circular form. Then visualize that red circle slowly floating out of your solar plexus, further and further away from your solar plexus. Be able to visualize that red circle as it moves away from your body. See that red circle shrinking down in size. See it shrinking further to become the size of a pebble. This energy block is no longer within you. This red circle continues to shrink down until it reaches the size of a grain of sand. You continue to track it with your higher self as you visualize a universal point of view. It goes from having that universal view towards your ego self, going within and seeing your energy, painting that energy block as a red circle that slowly floats away from your body, and it's shrinking further and further. Now visualize that grain of sand within an arm's reach. Reach out and feel it within your fingers. That is where all of your negative energy now resides, within a grain of sand that is in between your fingers. This is where you have the option if you want to carry that grain of sand as a reminder of your energy block, or you can very well just simply toss it out into the universe. And that is it for this technique. The power of this technique is in its simplicity. The more you're able to run it through and visualize this energy block drifting away, the better you will get with your results. Pain, stress, and anxiety are simply energy blocks. We have the power and will to run an energy process to either increase their intensity or decrease their intensity. We decide where our energy goes. Again, we decide where our energy goes. Will you allow these energy blocks to remain, or will you take action to shrink them down in size and drift them away? You have a choice. I have a choice. We all have choices and options. This technique is the opposite process of the 3S technique, which is used to gain ascension. So here we have the 3S duality technique. And with the 3S duality technique, we start with the higher self instead of starting within the body. The other technique is to connect and magnify your energy. And this technique is so that you can disconnect and move away from bad energy. Two energy techniques that are easy to execute and that deliver powerful results. And personally, I use this just to shift away from any bad energy, either within me or any surrounding energies that seem to be contagious. And often enough, we go through our day and we meet people and we come across experiences that do offer way too many negative energies. So knowing how to detach yourself from those negative energies and just put them outside you is quite powerful. And speaking about a powerful technique, along with this, I like to go and exercise a couple of my breathing techniques. And this is something that I cover in another module of this program. So having the options of looking at negative energy from the 3 points that I like to cover them. Point number 1 is getting of negative energy completely out of my system. The second one is diminishing negative energy as much as possible. And the third one is utilizing any remaining negative energy as fuel in order for me to ascend. So this is something that I'll also cover more in depth as we take any negative energy or any energy blocks through that 3-step process. While I'm taking energy blocks through that process, what I also do is I work on my breathing, which is often a lot of the reasons why I'm able to break away from any moments of anxiety, any moments of frustration, any moments of angst. And a lot of people often perceive breathing as something that is just another technique. But in actuality, there are a couple of different breathing techniques. And if you pick the right one, and if you pick the right process to practice and build upon, you will see a big difference. It's like playing a piano. At first, when you sit down at the piano and you don't know how to play, of course, you're not going to get great results. But the more you practice, the more you get into a journey of ascension, the better results and the more options that we're going to have. So let's focus on this technique if it helps. And if it doesn't help, practice it more and find ways to put it into your foundation and your repertoire of techniques towards energy and towards your ultimate ascension. So what else can this be used for? Any strong food cravings, feeling impatient, being too tense, feeling unproductive, self-awareness, or any other energy blocks. And I execute this technique consistently because personally it does work and it does deliver the right results of allowing my good energy to shift and move forward with the right intent. Your solar plexus is like a hub for inner energy. If there is an internal energy block, then quite often your good energy that is in sync or energy of your higher self might not be able to move forward. So, does this mean that we can break through any energy block? Well, that is what we're aiming for, and I like to run this exercise until all of my negative energy is out of my body, out of my solar plexus. And the question now is, what can I do if not all of my negative energy and energy blocks move out from me? I would keep running this technique until I no longer felt any negative energy. And of course, negative energy can build up at a later date again. But also, at a later date, if you feel any remnants of this negative energy, turn that negative energy into fuel for you to be productive and get in the zone. We might not always have a rosy outlook, and that is okay. We can commit to get rid of as much negative energy as possible, pain points, and anxiety. But if anything remains, use it as fuel to push you forward and help you ascend. What we cannot get rid of, we utilize in any way, shape, or form. And another related question is, why not just meditate instead of using this technique? Well, this gives you another tool in your arsenal. You have options. Options are king. Whenever we're dealing with stress, pain, problems, or negative energy, we have to realize as soon as possible that we always have options. And this is something that we really need to remember. We always have options. The 3S technique and the 3S duality technique are part of those options to solve the issues that we encounter. And sometimes meditating might not be as practical depending on where you are. So this is another option. Or meditating might sometimes not have such a strong result as mastering and using one of these techniques by themselves or together. It's all about the results you get when you try. Try this out and compare it to the results you would usually get within other techniques or meditation. What gives you the best results? Is it a combination of techniques, insights, and meditation? How can you structure a process that gives you the optimal results? That is what we're going to continue to cover and develop on this program. Ultimately, we have to find our best resources to stop suppressing our energy blocks. And another follow-up question is this technique better than meditation? Again, I would say to test out various techniques and see what works for you best. One thing about meditation that I should mention is that oftentimes within meditation, you're told to suppress any negative feelings, any negative energy, instead of allowing it to surface and leave. For instance, sometimes when people meditate, they might say a mantra such as, I'm angry, but I'm not anger. I'm hurt, but I am not that hurt. Now, if this works for you, great. But if flowing that negative energy outwardly works better, then ultimately do what gives you the best results. I don't recommend you suppress energy at all, either positive energy or negative energy. Instead, allow your energy to flow outwardly. If it's good energy, flow it outwardly to be productive and in the moment. And if it is bad energy or negative energy, flow it outwardly so that it will leave you and you can diminish it. Even on a subconscious level, we oftentimes continue to loop negative energy. That is why we don't want to suppress it, reload it, but rather allow it to flow outwardly in a way that is not going to affect us or those around us. Negative energy, identify it, gather it, flow it outwardly, shrink it. And when it comes to this technique, the 3SS duality technique, you can even allow yourself to get creative with this as well. For instance, I can either carry that grain of sand within my pocket, or at times I like to imagine I'm trying to fit myself into that little grain of sand and I just rush my energy forward and try to break in. But of course, in my mind's eye, in my imagination, that is not possible. So the more I try it, the further that negative energy gets blocked out of me. And there is that disconnect of energy from within my good energy and that bad negative energy that is no longer a part of me. So I like to try out different techniques, and I like to add a little twist to them, as you could see. So if you have any questions, I'd love to answer them. As far as anything that you could do to improvise, or if you're looking to change it up a bit as well, change up your technique routine, or change up the way you execute certain techniques, I love to hear comments or questions. Techniques like this one allows you to go beyond any theory, and it's inclined to be more results oriented. When we take action and we're able to get good results or even great results, our energy shifts dramatically towards being more productive. Our good energy strengthens and flows outwardly. The more you calibrate and utilize this process, the better results you will get. And the great thing about this technique is that with practice, it soon becomes effortless and even somewhat automatic, almost like riding a bike, and it becomes instinctual. And if I might add, another metaphor I like to use is that of playing the piano. The more skillful you get, the more beauty and energy that you're able to produce and bring upon yourself and upon others. When you combine both 3S's techniques, one from the approach of zooming in and the other from the approach of zooming out, you have a powerful blueprint that will take your energy to another level.